Thanks. I'm Mike Harvey. This first one I'm going to read is kind of short. Stephen Crane wrote The Red Badge of Courage. He wrote a lot of poetry. And he called his poetry pills because they were short and bitter, and I like to think they made him feel better. So that's kind of how I like to describe this. I like to call it a pill. It's coming out of one of those tattered flag relationships with this girl. It's pretty serious, and I felt her influence on and her presence sort of in every poem I've ever written. But this isn't dedicated to her, it's dedicated to someone who actually said these words before I realized I liked them as a poem. So this is dedicated to Juliet. She's another student here, also in the IT department, which is where I hail from. It's called A Fragment. I can't do everything anymore. I'm so out of practice. That's it. Okay, this one's a little more dedicated to my fellow IT students in general. It's called I Pity the Physicists. Yes, now, for a living, I work in computers, but I'm a Luddite. I do not fear technology. It is not strange to me. I know it very well, but still, I am a Luddite. What fascinates me more than a stranger's flicker are the discarded photos scattered and blown across the street. I stand in favor of the note passed between friends rather than a flurry of texts back and forth, or the written letter agonized over for days over the hastily written afternoon email, and the picture of you I can hold in my hand over the hundreds on your Facebook profile. Do we all feel this way? Am I the only one who believes our memories, encoded into numbers stored on disks, lose so much value? Or is this the plight of the computer scientist? If so, I pity the physicists. I'm mostly a realist poet, but I've been branching out a little bit, experimenting with imagery a bit, and that's sort of what I brought into this. I incorporated a little more visual elements. This is called Are We Lost? The snow is just melting away. It is blissful silence, broken only now and then by the violence of ice falling from the tops of buildings. My heart is breaking again, and for whom, I'm not sure. All of us were kept wondering, what has happened? What's happening? Snow everywhere this season, no one as far away from it as they thought they were, as they wanted to be, as they needed to be. Last but not least, I'm going to read something by a guy named Raymond Carver. I was actually introduced to him through an American literature class here, and he's pretty much the biggest influence on my poetry out there. In fact, I actually got an excerpt from one of his poems tattooed there on my arm. So you might say I'm a big fan of Raymond Carver's stuff. If you get a chance, definitely do read it. It's called The Best Time of the Day, and it's got a little bit warmer imagery compared to the snow in the last one since it's spring. Cool summer nights, windows open, lamps burning, fruit in the bowl, and your head on my shoulder. These are the happiest moments in the day, next to the early morning hours, of course, and the time just before lunch, and the afternoon and early evening hours. But I do love these summer nights even more, I think, than those other times. The work finished for the day, and no one who can reach us now or ever. Thank you.